Well, happy rainy Wednesday afternoon here in Green Bay, Wisconsin to everybody joining us today. Thank you so much for carving out some time on this Wednesday afternoon. My name is Spencer Bonney. I'm the Executive Director of Achieve Brown County, and it's my pleasure to not just welcome you to our next installment of Chat with Spencer, but to welcome our very special guests to this session's Chat with Spencer, our longtime Achieve Brown County volunteer, Carl Derge. Carl, welcome.
Hi, everybody.
It's great to have you with us. As I said to Carl before we got started, this is a long time coming. We should have had Carl on for Chat with Spencer a number of months ago, and you'll quickly appreciate and understand why as I begin to ask him to tell all of you about himself and his work with Achieve Brown County. But before we dive in, I just want to take a moment to set the stage here, both relative to why we do Chat with Spencer's and our time with Carl today. So for those of you that are new to Chat with Spencer, we set these up a number of months ago to help you, our friends and family in Facebook land, better appreciate and understand the work of Achieve Brown County through the eyes, ears, and lived experiences of its partners, of its key stakeholders like our board members, and now today of one of our longtime volunteers in Carl. So Carl has been with us almost as long as Achieve Brown County has been in existence. And not only is he a longtime volunteer, he is like a super volunteer, because Carl has done everything that we've asked of him and more. In fact, oftentimes he just shows up with a great willingness to do whatever it is we need help with. And that's one of the reasons why we love him so much. He's just the kind of volunteer that any organization would be blessed to have a part of it. So without any further ado, Carl, again, welcome. Thanks for making time to join me for today. Those of our those people that are watching today will know the script, so to speak, because the questions that I'm going to ask you are the same questions that I typically ask every guest, starting with, Carl, just tell us about yourself. What's most important to you in your life, etc.
All right. Well, I guess I'll just start with the basics. I'm 32 years old. I have a bachelor's degree in communication and English. Let's see, what's important to me? Well, I guess I'd say my friends and family. I'm really close with my family, my parents and my sister, and also have a little 3.5-year-old niece that I have a pretty special relationship with. Let's see, what else? I guess things that are important to me, I guess I'm concerned about things like social justice, the future of the planet and humanity. Let's see, what else? I really like the written word a lot. I love books and poetry, things like that. I try my own hand at creative writing once in a while, to varying degrees of success, but it's just something good to do to, yeah. Let's see, what else? I really like music and video games, learning new things, and obviously a lot more, but that's the basics.
That's awesome. A great start. 2 really quick follow-up questions. I warned you that I would come up with a couple depending on what you said. You have lived in the Green Bay area your entire life, haven't you?
Yeah, almost since I was about 6 years old. So yeah.
Okay. So long time residents, yeah, of the greater Green Bay area. So you know the area really well. Also, you mentioned your niece. I want to bring her back up only because you've shared with us a lot of great pictures of her and told us a lot of great stories of your time together. So obviously the room in your heart for her is really big.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, definitely.
Awesome.
Special.
Awesome. So tell us about your life's journey. Take us back to maybe when you were 6 years old, when you and your family first came to the greater Green Bay area. How did you get from there to where you are today at age 32? What were some of the milestones or even highlights along the way?
Yeah, okay. So I guess I'll go back to the very beginning. I was born in Manitowoc, and then the first 6 years I grew up in this little tiny town called Francis Creek outside of there. There's a on an old farmhouse. You know, it hadn't been an active farm for years, but there are a bunch of like outbuildings and barns and stuff I would always explore as a kid. I spent a lot of time outdoors there, and it's probably where my curiosity of the world came from. I was interested in like the natural world and animals and stuff from a really young age. I was always, looking under rocks and everything for bugs or frogs or anything I could find like that. So yeah, I think that made me very curious about the world. Let's see. And then when I was about, yeah, when I was about 6, we moved up to Green Bay just so my dad could be closer to where he worked. Let's see. I went to McAuliffe Elementary School, where I think also they have a whole thing about, space, and they have a thing every year about that. So I think that also made me be interested in like science and the world and things like that. And
Totally.
then I went to Edison Middle School, Prevalent High School. I graduated there 2008. Then I went to UWGB I had a double major there. It was English and communication. And so, yeah, graduated there 2013, I believe it was. Yeah, and that was a good experience, widened my horizons a lot. Let's see what else. Let's see, after that I was having some trouble finding jobs and things. So I decided for the time being I would do volunteer work and things like that. Yeah, I started out actually uh, right out of college. I think about 6 months after, I got sort of an internship volunteer thing at the Neville Museum, and that was good. I did that up until the beginning of the pandemic, probably at the same time I was doing stuff with the chief. And yeah, so that was really good. But then after a few years of that, I started to think, well, maybe I should be doing something more, find something new. And I actually worked with like an employment specialist or like career counselor person,
Mhm.
I wanted to do something more, something different. And again, it was kind of hard to find a job and things. So I maybe another volunteer thing, and they were actually the ones that found Achieve Brown County and told me about it. And I didn't think it would be, I just thought it would be a good match. And yeah, so here we are, more or less. That's the very brief history.
I had forgotten that you were referred to us, or we were referred to you, one way or the other, and that's how we got connected originally. Rather, that's how the organization and you got connected. But we are so much the better for that, which hopefully you'll tell us more about as I ask the next question. So a way to tee it up, great transition there for us. Um, Tell us more about when you first learned of your opportunity to volunteer with the Chief Brown County. Tell us more about what inspired you to volunteer with us.
Well, mostly I just wanted to, make a difference or feel like I was having a more tangible effect on the community. Like I, I really enjoy the museum, and I loved working there and everything. But one of the things, just having more like interpersonal communication, like I enjoyed what I did there, but I didn't always like interact with other people or like collaborate very much. So that was part of it. And yeah, I just wanted a new opportunity and to make a difference in the communities in whatever small way I could. So yeah, I think that's what attracted me to it.
Awesome. Awesome. I would tell you, you're selling yourself short there, my friend, because you have, again, done so much for us that is not just benefited our organization, but all of the young people that we serve in the community, our partners as well. So dive into a little bit greater detail, if you would, around specifically what you've gotten to do with Achieve Brown County and what you continue to do with and for us.
Sure. Yeah. I've done a pretty wide variety of things, but I think one of the early things I did, I wrote some literature reviews, which is basically, the going over the research and seeing what's out there. I think I did one on mentoring and one on early childhood education. So yeah, and those actually did go on to be the basis of some of the important teams and like initiatives we launched with the mentoring and things like that. So
Indeed.
yeah,
Yep.
so let's see, what else have I done? I've managed social media at various times. I've done sort of data entry type things. I've taken notes at meetings. Uh, I'm sure there's a lot of other things I'm forgetting, but oh yeah, and then working with data. I use Tableau, which is a visualization software, which that was kind of interesting because I'd never really worked with anything like that and just kind of, jumped in feet first and figured out a lot of it as I was going along. Yeah, so that was, yeah, so it's just a wide range of things, which is a positive. It's good to always have something new.
Agreed. And what we have so appreciated about you from the get-go is your willingness to take on a lot of different things, including Tableau. So let's talk about that a little bit more. My recollection is the same as yours, that when we gave you the opportunity to work with Tableau, you had never worked with it before. So you kind of had to learn on the fly. But since learning on the fly and getting your hands dirty, so to speak, and using Tableau, you've done a lot with it. In fact, I could point to a number of visuals on our website that you have had a hand, either partly or entirely, in creating for us. So tell us more about what you've done with Tableau.
No, a lot of things. One of the main things, well, what I'm working on now mostly is with FAFSA. So about once a month, I update we have some charts that are the FAFSA completion rates by school and overall county. I make a new graph every month and update that on the Tableau. Yeah, it's hard to remember at the top of my head all the things I've done, but I know, yeah, and a lot of it's been, or it was updating and maintaining a lot of that. Yeah.
So what you're speaking to, and I want to help our audience really appreciate, understand, is the breadth and depth of our work with data. There's a lot of behind the scenes work that we do with our partners as well, in sourcing, researching, analyzing, and ultimately leveraging data, both in the form of the visuals that Carl has had a hand in creating, but also relative to something you spoke to earlier, how we leverage that data to help us really understand what's going on with young people in our community, so that we can convene, facilitate, and support collaborative action teams that make the biggest difference in the lives of those same young people. So all of what, Carl, you're talking about happens behind the scenes, and it takes a lot of time and effort to take raw data and turn it into a visual like what you have created and people can see on our website. It takes even more time to analyze that data and turn it into action in the form of one of our collaborative action teams. So all that is to say, Carl, you have played a really integral and critical role in helping us to do what we do with data, which is turn information into action that makes the biggest difference in the lives of our community's young people.
Yeah, and I should also mention that's not just me doing that. There's other people that are helping collect the data and organize it and things. Yeah, so I can't take sole credit for that. It's a whole team that works together. So
I appreciate that, and that speaks to your humility as well as a volunteer. You are absolutely right. You're a part of a great evidence-based decision-making team, is what we call it at Achieve Brown County. But everybody has an important role to play, and certainly your role is equally as important as any other person's role on that team. So I think it's fair to say that you are a beloved member of that team as much as you are a beloved member of our organizational team as well, thanks to everything that you do. So let's shift gears here. If you've been following these chats with Spencer, as I'm sure some of you have, you know that this is a question that I have asked everybody because it still is kind of front of mind for all of us. We're still working our way through it in all that we say or do in our personal and professional lives. Carl, tell us what it's been like for you to live in the pandemic, the social justice movement, everything that's happened in the past 16 months. Again, it's very fair to say that the past 16 months have been pretty much unlike any similar time period that any of us have experienced. So what has it been like for you? What have you done to navigate yourself through everything that we've experienced together?
Yeah, well, it's been interesting and kind of tough, a lot of boredom and isolation, things like that. Although I do like to joke, I'm a very introverted person, so I've kind of joked sometimes, I've been preparing for quarantine my whole life, but yeah, it's been tough. It was hard to not see some people, like my sister was going through cancer at the time, and we couldn't be there with her directly. That was tough. And also, I think a lot of us that were concerned about it and, quarantined and things had to bear the burden of people that didn't, take it seriously or change their life at all, which is very tough. But well, one of the main ways I dealt with it actually was it forced me to start writing again, which was something I'd been neglecting for a while, just to stay relatively sane, process what I was feeling and things. So I think that was really helpful, and a lot of it, like a lot of people, was probably escapism, which isn't necessarily the healthiest going on all the time, but it's just necessary. So yeah. Yeah, and it was interesting to see the social movements and things, which, obviously that was simmering underneath everything for a while, and lots of people were aware of it and concerned with it. But yeah, it was good to see it come to the forefront, like, these social justice movements and these things, that problems that have been swimming for a long time without really being addressed. So at least I think that's at least a good beginning step, recognizing it, it getting at least some of the media attention it deserves. And
Totally.
yeah, so it's really been an interesting over a year, but yeah, we're getting through it. It seems it's not over yet, but we're slowly getting there.
I would agree. What's on the other side for you? So when we fully come out of this pandemic, does your life change much? Is there anything that you're really looking forward to?
Yeah, I'm looking forward to getting back to the office where I can see you in person, actually, instead of kind of coordinate all this stuff remotely, which isn't the easiest sometimes, and just becoming more involved again. I'd say, and achieve, and just, well, the world, obviously, but yeah, achieve too.
Totally. We're looking forward to that too. It's not that you haven't been involved, but you're absolutely right. When we have the opportunity to do work in person again, that will make a big difference for all of us. So if you're keeping track, what I've tried to call out over the past 18 minutes is all the things that we love about Carl, beginning with his serving spirit, his willingness to do whatever it takes, his humility. In his last couple of responses, what I hope you heard too, was just his great insights and perspectives on the world in general. Obviously, Carl is a very, very thoughtful guy. Also his sense of humor. I should have mentioned that from the get-go. Carl is incredibly funny and brings a lot of happiness and joy to our team and certainly our office when we are all together. So that's got to be at least 5, 6, maybe 7 different things that we love on you for, Carl.
Thanks.
You bet. Well, when you think about all the work that Achieve Brown County has been doing ever since you started volunteering with us, and where we've gotten to in our own journey today, what are you most excited about as you look to the future? What's you said you're looking forward to getting back into the office and working with us in person. As you think about the bigger picture behind the work that Achieve Brown County does, what are you most looking forward to contributing to next?
Yeah, I think maybe contribute in ways I haven't before, or trying to do new things, since I've always been sort of a jack of all trades here, doing anything that comes up, really. Just, yeah, maybe expand my knowledge of what all is going on in Achieve, because sometimes over this last 16 months, I've sort of lost track sometimes, I've kind of come in and out of the picture and what's going on with Achieve. And yeah, so just, yeah, I think just contributing more, maybe in new, different ways. Yeah, and obviously continuing working with data is probably the thing I'm most interested in. That's basically the foundation of Achieve Brown County, the data collection and things like that. So yeah, that's probably the thing I like contributing to most.
Awesome. Awesome. Well, Carl, we have breezed through our time together, specifically the list of questions that I shared with you in advance, and you've been gracious enough to answer a few others along the way. One final question for you. Is there anything else you would like our audience to know about you, your work with Achieve Brown County, or is there anything that you wish I had asked that I didn't ask?
A good question. Really can't think of anything else on the top of my head or anything. But if you have anything else you're interested to ask me, go ahead. We got a couple minutes yet, so.
We do. Well, let me just simply wrap us up by saying this. I know I started by saying that Carl is a super volunteer, and that I thought those of you watching would get a sense of why and how he is exactly that for us in our time together. And Carl, I think in all of your responses, you've certainly put it out there for people to do exactly that. I just want to reaffirm that. Carl, you've been such an amazing volunteer for us. You're such an amazing human being. We are truly blessed to know you, to have the opportunity to work with you, to benefit from everything that you bring to us, everything that you do for us, and most importantly for our partners in our communities, young people. Like I said, any organization like ours would be really fortunate to have you as a volunteer. We are at Achieve Brown County extremely fortunate to have you as a volunteer, and couldn't be more honored to call you truly a beloved member of our team. So thank you for everything that you have done, that you are doing, and will continue to do for us in the future. I, like you, look forward to having you back in person even more, particularly as we transition back into an office space, and can't wait to explore with you what else you can do for us. So Carl, thanks again for everything that you do.
Yeah, thank you so much. I'm glad to have the opportunity to be a part of Achieve. And yeah, over these past, I've been thinking about it, I think was 5 years in June, actually. So yeah.
Hard to believe. You and Mary and Leah are the longest tenured team members at Achieve Brown County. So the three of you are like the brain trust from the very beginning. You each bring so much. But to your point about this being your 5 years, that really is pretty remarkable. Time flies, right?
It really does.
Well, here's to the next 5, 15, 20, however long you're willing to give all of you to the work that we do, Carl. We're again very, very fortunate to have you.
Thank you.
You are most welcome. Thanks to all of you in Facebook land that joined us today. Thanks to those of you that are watching the recording of this. If you have any interest in learning more about Carl, is it okay if I kind of put you out there and invite people to reach out to us? to
sure.
ask any specific questions that they may have about you. Would encourage anybody to take an interest in getting to know Carl that much more. In the meantime, keep your eyes out for the next chat with Spencer that actually is coming up here pretty quickly. A week from today at 9 a.m. I will be very honored to have the opportunity to speak with Missy Schmeling. She is the new executive director of Encompass Early Education and Care. So look for that a week from today. Carl, thanks again. My best wishes to you for the rest of the day and the week. We'll see you soon.
Bye, everyone. Thanks for watching.
Thanks, everybody.